She sowed the seeds of mustard grapes, power so they can grow. Her soul shining so bright, evolving everything about it. From the artificial things to 3D world, ever water. Now she's with her own women, no longer part of the gray race. She's a bright, bronze, beautiful woman, magnificent. And now she resides where the rest of the women are. So the power right around these future states.
Projection of woman, I go first and fly, never second aside, and my soul is my levitation. Out of this world, when my soul ahead, floating everywhere, and my soul is here, really rhymes with these, I'm a real superwoman. Since the day I found life, I fix my wrongs so right. To restore the right connection, I'm a superwoman. My powers have no limit, cause I move by the way of my man. And I'm in I trust. Yeah, and I'm in I trust. Out of this world, when my soul ahead, flying everywhere, and my soul is scared, and it rides with me, yes, I'm a real superwoman.
She's so out of this world, that is so amazing. She's so out of this world, look with fascination. She decided to make a move and build a stronger foundation. So she took the initiation and came home to a bright place. With her crown fully poured out and her beautiful glow. She sowed the seeds of mustard grapes, power so they can grow. Her soul shining so bright, evolving everything about it. From the artificial things to 3D world, ever water. Now she's with her own women, no longer part of the gray race. She's a bright, bronze, beautiful woman, magnificent. And now she resides where the rest of the men and women are. So the power right around these future states.
Just need a bottle of water.
When my soul ahead, flying everywhere, and my soul is scared, really rhymes with these, I'm a real superwoman.
All right. Yeah. All right. We are back. Before we start, always, in the name of AHMEN, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in AHMEN we trust, in AHMEN we think, and in AHMEN we continue forward forever. Good evening. I'm the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is High and Mighty Talks with me, Nuben Menkares, and I'm going to be discussing a few topics, things that have been on my mind. You know how I do. I don't usually have one set topic. Whatever comes to mind, I just basically take and, put up there. I got a bunch of things I'm going to talk about tonight. Yeah, I'm looking at the list right now. I'm looking at the, I got my lovely wives helping me. Shout out to them. Dea, Tessa, thank you, for helping me out here. They're going to be doing my, doing the questions. So if you have any questions, they'll be reading the questions off to me, If there's any phone calls coming in, I think we got this phone system set up right now. 929-430-5191. That's 929-430-5191. All right, well, let's jump into this. Okay. A lot of stuff I did broadcast on, but I wanted to get, stuff on, I wanted to get stuff on video. I wanted to get stuff on YouTube. So, mainly to take another shot at this, because I've done stuff on YouTube before. If you look at our MENTELLECT channel, which is about 23,000, we got another 1,000 viewers now, which I wish the people over at MENTELLECT channel come over to High and Mighty Talks with Nivin Menkares, because the people who want to ask me questions, the people who have been in my comment section, the people who want to interact with me and talk with me, here's a perfect time to do it. So, make your way over into the High and Mighty Talks and check out the lives, because I'm trying to get these going at least 3 times a week. I want to get more and more content on the channel, and I'm providing a more logical and intelligent perspective to everything, a high level one, a 4th dimensional perspective. Let's put it just like that. So I'm going to say a lot of things. I'm going to bring a lot of things, as I've always been known to do since 2012, since we started. Just basically bringing things out to the people to think about. Again, I don't want nobody to believe nothing I say. I want you to think about what's being said, because nothing I say really requires any belief. For those of you people who are talking about belief and, things like that, I got into the other week. But anyway, I want to address this Africa thing again. I'm going into this more in depth, because I was watching a video, I forget, it was some sort of documentary, and I always have an issue with whenever so-called quote-unquote black people are found in different regions or different areas, historically found in different places. The African thing is always tied to them, and they must have got there through slavery, and whatever the case is, they must have got there, and these are Africans who came into this land. And it's always a connecting us to Africa thing. It's always a connecting quote-unquote so-called black people to Africa. And my question is, if everybody's from Africa, originally, like your Caucasian scientists have said that all life started in Africa. If everybody's from Africa originally, why are we the only ones labeled African? Why are we the only ones labeled African? Why does everybody else get to be labeled something else? Why does everybody else get to be labeled Asian or European or whatever? Why do everybody else get to be labeled something else? Native American. Like, for example, the so-called American Indians, which they're not the natives of this land. They come from a place before America. Like, for example, if they find Olmec heads, when they find the Olmec heads in Mexico, and they tried to, say that, these bronze copper colored men, these so-called black men, what you could tell their genotype and their phenotype, their lips and their noses and their broad faces, you could clearly see these are so-called black men. So-called black men, copper colored bronze men. You could clearly see this through the genotype and the phenotype. But these people are so invested in the lie that we did not start civilization, that we had nothing to do with any civilizations. Everything is attributed to Africa, or we came over from Africa, or we was bought as slaves into Africa, and they never want to promote us as the indigenous people. We're never promoted as the indigenous people, because the first thing they go back to is, these people from Africa. Well, here's the thing. How come, and this has been proven to be factual, how come the so-called Native American Indians, the so-called Native American Indians, the red Indians, keep this in mind, the red Indians, this is what they're referred to, because I'm going to come back to that in a second about the copper color. How come the red Indians are never talked, how come their origin before America is never talked about? How come their connection to Mongolia and crossing of the Bering Straits, which it had been proven that these people crossed the Bering Straits and came into America, I think before the Ice Age or after the Ice Age, something like that, I forget what it was. which is why you got Eskimos, Mexicans, and all these subgroups here in America, in the American territories, who are natives of Mongolia, Asia thing, and who crossed the Bering Straits. Now that happened. These people migrated from Mongolia, from Asia, into America, where they found bronze people, the copper-colored people. They found our people. But instead of linking them back to where they come from, instead of linking them back to Mongolia, instead of linking them back to the Mongolians, instead of doing that, they try to make it seem like these people just popped up out of the ground and that they was here in America first. Why don't they talk about their origin? Why the so-called Mongoloid Indians never referred to as Asian? And they are Asian. Why they never refer to that? Answer: because the recorders of history would rather give our heritage, give our nationality, our indigenous foundation over to other people. Because I told you, they do not want to tell, meaning the Caucasian immigrants who came here into America and set up the United States government, they do not want to bring out the fact that the real natives of America are so-called black people, and that we've had our culture hijacked, and we were told that we were African, and it took them a long time to come up with the African thing. For the longest time, they didn't even say that we were African. Now, then all of a sudden, we come out and we African. You see, they wasn't even talking about Africa or that we were African. We was called American Negroes. We were called everything, colored Americans. No mention of Africa was ever, talked about until the 20th century. Now, you would think that it would be fresh in the minds of the people who brought us supposedly from Africa into America, that, hey, these are African immigrants. But that's not mentioned, that we're African immigrants. The word Africa is not even, or African is not even used. The word black wasn't used. You had Negro, Negro, again, from the Spanish. The Caucasians took that from the Spanish, and the Spanish are Caucasians as well. All right. So they don't promote us as the real natives of America, even though we are. You see, they tied the Mongoloid Red Indians to the Mayan people. Now, if you look at the Bonaparte temples and things like that, you can clearly see the Mayans are so-called black people. You can clearly see the Mayans, the Aztec. These are pictures they drew of themselves. These are not fake pictures. These are not fake photos that were created by Caucasian historians to try to whiten or lighten the people of Mesoamerica. Because the people of Mesoamerica look like me. They look like you. If you're born here in America, in North America, they look like me. And they look like you. Okay? And in the native world, in the Mesoamerican world, we did a whole lot of this, meaning the smoking of the marijuana through pipes and things like that, through joints. We were smoking marijuana in the ancient world. That's not nothing new. We've been doing that. Okay? We turned the so-called white man. We were smoking marijuana in Mexico. We were smoking marijuana in the Yucatan and South America. We were doing this, which I'm going to get on that too. The hypocrisy of these people who act like it's a problem with marijuana, but these people drink alcohol. But let me stay on one topic. So, right, for this one right now. So, these people will sit here and try to deny that we are the real natives of this land, the real indigenous people of this land. And there's plenty of proof. Look at the Bonaparte Temple. Look at the Olmecs. Look at them. You can clearly see that this is a copper-colored bronze society. North America, South America, the continents of America, which is really the Garden of Eden, right? This is really here in America. The continent of America is the real Garden of Eden because you can grow anything here. This is lush land. This is lush property. This is lush soil. You can grow anything here. You can't grow anything in Africa. That's false. You keeping watching the questions? All right.
Can you open up that on your phone for the group, just in case someone calls?
Okay.
You got it up on your phone?
Yeah, just yeah, it's open.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's open. But anyway, this is fertile land. They want you to think that Africa is more fertile than America. It's not. It's really not. You might find certain resources here in Africa, but pretty much you can find everything here in the Americas. That's why the Caucasians and everybody wanted to claim America, because we were basically harvesting the land. We were harvesting American soil and growing cotton. If you look at the pictures of the Aztec and the Mayan people, you see they're wearing nice cottons and nice robes and things like this. So these people were harvesting, obviously, material from the land. Before the white man came here, before the Mongoloid Indians, who never harvested nothing from the land. You see, they sewed together cow skin moccasins and you know, basically what they killed on the land, like buffalo and things like that. And they would make clothing out of their skins, or they would trade with people. Most of the people they were trading with was our people, because we had material. We were making clothing. Okay. We were making clothing, which made it. And see, a lot of us don't want to, or we have a hard time thinking that we were that thorough, that we were that advanced back in the ancient world, because you've been loaded down with this lie that we came from Africa and we were swinging in trees and all this BS, all these lies. Again, you don't build $1 million industry off of a bunch of jungle people, a bunch of uncivilized people. The money is in owning civilized people who know how to do things, who have skills and trades like our people. We had skills and trades. Like I mentioned, we were carpenters. Our women were seamstresses. We knew how to grow food on the land. So we were, and the men were clearing out. And like I said, we knew how to build things. All this stuff we knew how to do before the arrival of the Caucasians or the Mongoloid Indians. If you look at all of those pyramids and things like that here in the Americas, that are credited to the Mesoamericans, our people, but they're trying to erase our culture and our heritage. They're trying to erase it and put other faces there. Latino, what you call Latino faces, because those Latinos that you talk about today, those are some of the people that crossed the Bering Straits. Those are some of the people that crossed the Bering Straits. Those are the people that made their way in here. Like I kept going into the people like your Fat Joe and them. You look at Fat Joe, he got the Mongoloid look to his eyes. He got the slanted-eyed look. All right. So these people never want to admit to their origins. They never want to admit that they crossed the Bering Straits and came from someplace else too. Why is that never promoted? Now, this is factual. You can look this up anywhere, Google it. Look it up anywhere, Google it, and you'll find exactly what I'm saying about the so-called Mongoloid Indians, the Red Indians, who they call American Indians. Now, again, here's a question. Now, I don't want to mess up my beautiful shirt. It's a nice shirt, Supremacy of AHMEN. Yeah, as you can see, I'm going to mess this up. I need me one of these little, I need eventually a smoke bed. I said that. But anyway, what was that? If you look at these people in the word ethnic American, right? You look at the word ethnic American that we have attributed to ourselves, I've attached to our people, and we getting rid of the whole African American thing because the word African and American don't fit with us. Because again, if life starts in Africa, why we have to take on the name African? Why can't Caucasians? And you got some of these Caucasians that are doing that. Umar Johnson, you got people like Charlize Theron, who's from South Africa. You got Elon Musk, who's from South Africa, who call themselves African Americans. Are you going to correct them? Are you going to say that they're not really Africans? You can't say that because the Africans, because according to you and according to so-called scientists, all life started in Africa. So everybody's African, according to what you're saying. So again, like I said in the last video, you shouldn't have no problem with race mixing, Umar, since you're saying since everybody's African. What's the difference? Okay? We don't buy into the African thing. But like I said, since everybody gets to hide that and they had a problem, certain people had a problem with me making reference to our people as ethnic American and not African American, I said because the real ethnicity of America is our people. The real ethnicity of America is so-called black people. It's not nobody else. You tell me who. Tell me whose culture, whose ethnicity is more prevalent in America but us, so-called black people, the bronze, copper-colored people? Whose ethnicity is more prominent? Through the music, through the fashion, things like that. Like I said, what is considered to be cool and hip is following after so-called black people. We set the tone for what's cool, for what's hip, not just in America, but around the world. Around the world. Like I said, hip hop is our music. Our music. Rap is our music. Jazz is our music. R&B is our music. Soul is our music. Rock and roll is our music. Reggae is our music. This is all our music. And a people and a society are based on, and what a culture is based on is what? Food and music. You see? We got our soul food. Like I said, I did a broadcast where I said, we really are. And when people say, well, what's your culture? I said, our culture is American soul culture. We got American soul culture. Our culture is soul culture. Ethnic American soul culture. That's our culture. The naturals on our head. That even wearing our hair natural, that what you call afros, which we refer to as natural, that come from our people. And you even had people here copying our style. The braids come from us. All that is ours. So yes, we do have an ethnic American soul culture. Yes. And you have people trying to erase that. You have people trying to tie into that, mix into that, like your Fat Joes and a lot of these people. And I'm going to say something to you people who are on the islands. Again, I don't know why y'all keep acting like you different from the people here in America. All of this is American territory. You, by right, should be calling yourself Caribbean Americans. You shouldn't be calling yourself Jamaicans. You shouldn't be calling yourself Haitians. You shouldn't be calling yourself Dominicans. You shouldn't be calling yourself Puerto Ricans. Now, all these places I mentioned, all these islands like Puerto Rico, all these were black islands, so-called black islands, of the copper color. But you had the Spanish, the Caucasian Spanish, and them come over and try to whiten up the race. Or as y'all say, La Rosa, or that thing y'all say in Spanish, La Rosa, improved the race. I don't know how you improve the race when you mixing in recessive genes. How is that an improvement in the race when you mixing in Caucasian genes with our genes to try to make it better? How is that an improvement? Caucasian genes, Asian genes, these are recessive genes. These are recessive genes. The dominant gene, the strongest gene, is the ethnic American gene, the copper-colored gene, the bronze gene. Or what you call so-called black. That's the strong gene. So how is mixing something weak with something strong making it better? And whose retarded backwards mind is that making things better? You actually lessening the genetic material. You weakening the genetic material. You see? Race mixing only benefits other races of people. It don't benefit us. It don't benefit so-called black people. Race mixing benefits everybody else. Like, I'm going to give you a good example of this. When the so-called white woman, the Caucasian woman mixes with the black man, he actually improves her genetic material, right? Because he has dominant genetics. He doesn't have all these sicknesses and illnesses in his genetic like the Caucasians and the Asians and these sickly people who always at the doctor all the time, who always sick in the hospital all the time. Our people are not like that. The only time you see us in the hospital is if we got a bad diet or something, we ate something wrong. We just our health is just screwed up. That's when you see us in the hospitals. You don't really see us in the hospitals like that. We're not a sickly people. We are a very strong and dominant people. But people want to weaken us and make us recessive so that they can make us, like I said, how they want to make us the face make so-called black people the face of unhealthy living or just sickness. They want to make us the face of sickness. If you look at a lot of these commercials now where they talking about medication for HIV, when they talking about medication for some kind of other sexually transmitted disease or just some kind of, they're usually showing so-called black people, black homosexuals, of course, black, them. They use them and they show us as the face of it. They don't want to show Caucasians as the face of sickness. They always try to attribute sickness to us. Monkeypox, you only saw so-called black people with that on their damn hands. COVID, they showing you so-called, oh, you black people need to go and take the, they only showing us as the face of sickness. But it's the truth be told, it's these people, these other races who y'all look up to with the recessive genetics. Those are the sick people. Those are the ones who sick. We're not sick. And any sicknesses that came into America came through Caucasians. It came through them. Smallpox, chicken pox, all these pox and all these different immunity, these different diseases come through your Caucasians and your Asians. And again, this is not to be racist. It's not to be a racial thing, but it's factual. We don't really carry disease like that. And don't attribute it to that so-called African. Don't say because we're not African. It's because you got a lot of people that say, oh, well, the Africans, they have this and they have that. Well, here's the thing. I don't have sickle cell anemia. And again, the Americans and the Africans are two totally different people. Africans and Americans are two totally different people. We are the real Americans. And you got your Africans who are totally different. Your tribal Africans, they may come up with a lot of disease, but we don't have nothing to do with them because they always try to tie us to, Caucasians always try to tie us to Africans because they don't want this continent to be known as a foundational spot, as a home for our people. They don't want America, the face of America, to be bronze, copper-colored people, which it is, again, going back to the 1828 Merriam-Webster Dictionary of the Copper-Colored American. You know that's not talking about the Mongoloid Indians. Again, why is nobody pointing this out? But I'm not going to rehash that. I did something, Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Okay. The almond hair versus the human fur. I'm looking at what you put on the fly. I'm going and dressing those. Yeah. The almond hair versus the human fur. The only people that have hair technically, really, the only people that have real hair is so-called black people. Our hair is real hair. Why? Because it comes from us naturally. You can call it nappy, even though our hair is not nappy, it's woolly. You see, it's thick. We're the only ones that got real hair. Okay? Why do I say we're the only ones that got real hair? Because it naturally comes from us. It naturally grows from us. You see, it is our natural crown and it cannot be attributed to anybody else. Now, your humans have fur. Where does fur come from? Fur comes from animals. You're going to tell me that the humans don't have the same fur or what they call in hair, which is not hair. You're going to tell me that their fur is not the same as the animal fur of a horse or a mule or a dog. You want to tell me that's not the same fur? Y'all gonna act like that's not the same fur? Y'all not freaked out that the fact that you're looking at people walking around with animal fur that they calling hair? Why nobody ever point to that? Now you notice nobody had a problem with calling it when Caucasians was calling us nappy headed and calling us Brillo head and making fun of our hair. Everybody laughed it off. It was a big joke. It made you so-called black women self-conscious about your hair because they was the ones, Caucasians were the ones that made you hate your hair. They made your hair look nappy and or so-called nappy and and unattractive and dry and all this stuff, Brillo head, all these things. So now they got to sit here and take their damn medicine. Let's just be truthful here. We're the only ones that got real hair. Everybody else has fur. The Caucasians, the Asians, the East Indians, the Arabs, the Mongoloid Indians, a lot of you Latinos, y'all got fur. This is hair. Hair is what grows up in the air. This is heat and air working together to grow out a fro. Grow out, or shall I say, a natural, right? Because what makes things rise? Heat makes things rise. So if our hair grows up into what you call an afro, what we call a natural, then that means that's life in our hair. That is, energy and power going on in our hair. Whereas your hair grow down to the ground as a sign of where you come from, earthbound people, animal fur, just like the other creatures. And this is why they tell you that your scientists remember I said in the other video, your scientists make reference to your humans as animals, as a species of animal. We're not part of the human race. And like I said, for the longest time, we thought that was a bad thing. But now we have this real stance that we're taking concerning who we are as a different species of people altogether. as a different race of people altogether. Since you said, oh, y'all separate, y'all not what we are, y'all not part of it. You're right. You're absolutely right. We are separate. We are not part of what you are part of. We are not a part of the human race. We are a totally different species. A totally different species. A totally different race. The AHMEN race. And I'm going to do more videos about the AHMEN race and whatnot, that, you know, as time goes on. But I felt it important to get it down on, you know, and just keep continuing to touch on this. I know a lot of my videos are not going to be seen. I'm pretty sure it's a secret little shadow ban on. I'm pretty sure everybody's not getting the notifications when they go out, but it's okay. You got to keep doing the work. Regardless, whoever hears it, they meant to hear it. It's okay. All right. Now I want to get to this thing about people who talk about me smoking marijuana. About to light up now. And by the way, this is good shit. Now, let me tell you something about you Israelites and all you guys that sit up here and talk about me smoking marijuana. And, you know, I find it really strange that people that will sit up here and drink alcohol will drink wine, like a lot of you Israelites. A lot of you guys commented and tried to criticize and sneak diss me about smoking marijuana. A lot of y'all was in my comment section, or you done said stuff about me smoking marijuana. But I done seen you guys come on video and you guys were drunk as skunks. Now, what is that alcohol, which you niggas are probably drinking cheap alcohol? What is that alcohol doing to your liver? It's tearing up your liver. You guys are overweight. You guys got, you know, I got me a little bit, which I'm making go away. I'm through working out and crunches and everything else and taking the carbs out and flattening my stomach out. As you can see, I just did the sprinting today, doing my sprints, my wind sprints. I feel good. Did my wind sprints today. You know, everything, you know, drinking my water. Which, let me take a sip of my water. All right. So, you know, that's alcohol that swells you guys up, that messes up your liver. That's alcohol, right? I hear you guys talking about, oh, marijuana destroys your brain cells. Do my brain cells, do I sound like my brain cells are destroyed? No, I'm very clear. Very clear-minded. You see, so clear-minded that I can see the hypocrisy of these people who smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes. Never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. Never, don't touch alcohol. But, and like I said, my liver is intact. My lungs are intact. I ain't never heard nobody getting lung cancer from smoking marijuana. I never heard that. That's a new one if that happened, because I don't heard these guys smoke hella marijuana. A lot of you guys smoke weed. You need to check, see what you smoking is natural. These got seeds in it and whatnot. And I know the roster who grows this stuff. So it's good stuff, the herb. Yeah, Dr. Sebi, who y'all love so much. Dr. Sebi stayed smoking marijuana to his last day. So obviously it was something about this herb that, you know, and it's sad that, one thing I want to say about Dr. Sebi, is sad that he didn't know much about our ethnic American roots, because Dr. Sebi, you know, he always talked about Africa. And I said he needed to know about our ethnic American heritage, because I remember I told you I found somebody from the ethnic American, from our Mesoamerican heritage, a statue of a person looked just like Dr. Sebi. Somebody's going to put that up, you know, just like Dr. Sebi. I found somebody look just like me, and my wife, they found people look like them, people in our community. We find people all throughout Mesoamerica look like us, but you want to say that's not our people? Now, when the so-called, now it's funny, when now you have the Mexicans, a lot of these Mexicans with the straight hair, like the animal fur, like the humans, they'll sit up here and say that, oh, y'all not real, the native, we the Mesoamerican, this, that, and the third. They'll say that, right? And but they don't match the people on the wall. They don't match the color, the genotype, the phenotype of the people on the wall, but they'll still say that's them. You got people that will lie in your face and they don't care about what's true and what's false. They only want to be right. So don't even argue with these people. Don't argue with a lot of these racist Mexicans. You say not no disrespect to all Mexicans. I know it's not some people that are going to tell the truth, but the mass majority won't, because they done got used to living off our culture. They've been living mighty high off our culture. They've been living mighty high off our culture, calling themselves Mesoamerican, taking credit for the pyramids that our people built. You see, like how the Native Americans did, the so-called Mongoloid Indians take credit with the Trail of Tears, like the sister was saying last week, how they try to make it seem like they lost something. The Mongoloid Indians lost something in America. Let me tell you something. The Mongoloid Indians lost nothing in America. The Red Indians lost nothing in America, because you can't really own land. Okay? No one owns land, especially if you're not cultivating the land, if you're not building on the land, which the Red Indians never did. They camped out on the land. Like I said, they set up teepees on the land. They lived off and hunted and fished off the land, basically like campgrounds. And they were made to move to other lands. That's you're not really losing anything when that happens. You only lose in land when you have cultivated that land, which our people did. Well, we was growing stuff here, because as soon as we hit North America, we was already growing stuff. We was already starting to fish, and we done been here. Like I said, the Mayans have mound communities in Georgia. The Mayans have been found in Georgia, and the Mayans have nothing to do with the Red Indians. The Mayans have nothing to do with the Red Indians. The Mayans are the copper-colored people. Okay? Our people. As soon as they hit North America, they was already fishing. They were already building on the land, houses on the land. They were already building housing. They were already cultivating the land and make the soil grow. They was already doing that. So by the time, and they were already trading, they started trading with each other, and basically people started coming into America who would come and trade. You have your Caucasians come here. Your people like your Columbus came here. Your people like Vespucci, who America is not named after, by the way. That's a lie. But you would have these people come here, and they would see our people, and they would comment about the people that were here, which is a lot of those records and things they wrote. You got to go and look for that. A lot of those are hidden, but they make, reference to our people being here in the description of our people. You can find that. But we were cultivating the land. That's, places like Georgia, places wherever, Mississippi, in Illinois. These were our people cultivating the land. This was our people growing on the land. So when Caucasians came here, when Europeans came here, they saw people eating good off the land. See, because remember, they came here starving. A lot of them came here starving. A lot of them came here with nothing. You see, many of them came here with nothing. They didn't have nothing going on in their countries. That's why they left their countries and fled into America, where our people were already harvesting and growing on the land, building on the land, living on the land, becoming relaxed. Because remember, we was on the land for like at least damn near 1,000 years before we even seen any white people. You talk about 1,100 years, they counted back, and I'm pretty sure it was even further back, but it had to be at least 400 or 500, probably up close to 1,000 years. Don't quote me on that, but close to 1,000 years we was in this land, farming this land, probably longer than that. Working on this land and things like that, and building on this land and making this land valuable, clearing out sections where we were at. That's what made the land valuable. That's what made the Caucasians come and push up on us with guns and just tell us, we're going to take your land. And it wasn't just good enough for them to take the land. They needed us to work the land, because they didn't know how to work the land. That's where slavery came in. Remember, I told you, slavery was all about forcing us to make the land work for them, make them wealthy off the land. Get us to work for and yield the cotton and the, whatever else, tobacco, whatever else came from the land, harvest and grow on the land, because it was about way more than just picking cotton. Don't buy into that story. All right. But back to what I was saying about you people who in your hypocrisy about marijuana. Like I said, this is a big hypocrisy, because like I said, you Israelites and all you guys, you'll sit up here and you'll get drunk. And even in this country, at one point in time, they outlawed alcohol. They outlawed alcohol in this country, right? And this is how a lot of people were able to come up off of alcohol, like a lot of people came up off of crack. Because, see, they don't like to, the Caucasians, they don't like to make their come up, or how they came up and made money in the world, built fortunes off the world. They don't want to make their rise put on the same level, or put it on the same level as some of our people. In other words, when you had prohibition, that's when you had, people, where people were prohibited from drinking alcohol in this country. They passed a law where alcohol was illegal, and you get locked up for drinking alcohol, or whatever the case may be. So you had the Italians, the mob, and all these people come up. The Irish, some of the Jews, the Jewish gangsters came up, and this is how they made money on prohibition. Now, nobody had a problem with that, right? Nobody had a problem with these people bringing in bootleg liquor and selling bootleg liquor, which mess up your liver, get you drunk, people getting in car accidents, people dying from alcoholism. Nobody says anything about alcohol because it was socially accepted. But you got the nerve to say something about this. That alcohol do more damage to you than marijuana do. Marijuana don't do no damage to you. It don't. You have people with liver, all kinds of liver, cirrhosis of the liver, all kinds of people that damn liver going, they need liver transplants, all off of alcohol. But then when so-called black men was selling crack in the 80s and whatnot, which is basically the same thing. When black men started selling crack in the 80s and making millions of dollars and whatnot, all of a sudden they were criminalized. They were criminalized. Not that I'm sticking up for crack dealers. Don't get it twisted. I'm not sticking up for crack dealers. But they were criminalized, and they had whatever money they had all this money taken from them, right? When they were committing crime, they were selling crack cocaine. But you got bootleggers and people that's still around family, whose family is still, who done got off into other things, right? But these people were bootleggers. Like a good example at the Bronfman family. The Bronfmans, the people that own Seagrams, those people were bootleggers. These are Jewish gangsters who were bootleggers, the Bronfmans. You see, that's public record. That's not nothing. The Kennedys, that they claim allegedly, though they claim that the Kennedys, Joe Kennedy wasn't a bootlegger. Yes, he was, allegedly. A lot of these people came up off of bootleg liquor, just like people would make, but reason why they criminalized crack cocaine is because a lot of black males made money at it. That's really why it was criminalized. Okay? A lot of black males made money at selling crack cocaine, and a lot of white people wasn't making no money on crack. It was a lot of black males that made money on crack cocaine. So, of course, crack had to be the scourge of the this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah about crack. But notice, Caucasians who right now, there's a crystal meth epidemic here in America. You don't hear them making the crystal meth epidemic that's decimating Caucasians in the Midwestern part. A lot of these Caucasians are on crystal meth. They meth heads, right? But notice they don't make the meth problem or meth head comparable to crackheads. The crackheads, though, they make fun of crackheads. Nobody makes fun of the meth heads, the Caucasian meth heads, or the Caucasian heroin addicts. A lot of these people on drugs. But it's only when it's so-called black people, that's when it's the worst thing on. Not that I'm sticking up for drug dealers, not that I'm sticking up, but I'm just showing you the hypocrisy. Just like the hypocrisy with alcohol again. I don't have no problem with doing this because I have no shame with that. You ain't going to see me come up here talking out my head like I see a lot of you Israelites. You came up here talking out of your head, all drunk as skunks and whatnot, halfway falling over. But that's okay to do. And then you said your Jesus Christ, which was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. A lot of you guys said your Jesus Christ was an alcoholic. Christ. You ever the Israelites said this? Christ drunk wine. And Christ, like his eyes was red like fire because he drunk a lot of wine. Oh. So, let me get this straight. If Christ's eyes was red from smoking this, that's wrong. But if he drinking some alcohol, some wine, and he becoming a wino, and his eyes is red and his liver is toe up, that's okay for Christ, right? It's wrong for Christ to smoke this, but it's okay for Christ to drink wine. You know where y'all get that from? You get that from the Caucasians. You get that from white people. Don't smoke this, you mess up your brain cells smoking this. You done bought into that propaganda. You see, but these the same people that let you drink alcohol and whatnot, and all the car crashes, all of the DUIs and things like that from people serving alcohol. They don't have a problem with alcohol because the government get they cut. And now they don't really have no problem with marijuana in certain places because now the government getting their cut. They getting their cut from it. And you got a lot of white people who got Caucasians who got they got these licenses to grow and sell marijuana now. You know, something that they're going to deprive a lot of you so-called black men from who is doing it illegally. And a lot of y'all still locked up in jail today for selling a damn herb. From selling an herb, not a drug, an herb. This is an herb, not a drug. This is an herb. It grows out of the ground, grows wild out of the ground. You just pick it up and you roll it, you smoke it. It's an herb. But because the government and the FBI and the Federal Bureau of Narcotics labeled marijuana a drug because they knew that it was a herb that quote unquote so-called blacks and Latinos like to indulge in, like to engage in, that we like to smoke reefer. Yeah, we do. And a lot of white people that got turned on to when they came into America, they seen us smoking it. They started smoking it too, and they liked it too. But when we smoke marijuana, we tend to be more open mentally, and it tends to break that whole, I'll just say for myself, it tends to break that whole mindset of, that it destroys that whole mindset of inferiority that a lot of you so-called black people have in America. Why I say it destroys it, because, you know, the term getting high kind of raises your mental vibration in a sense. And I'm speaking on myself as a marijuana smoker, not a weed smoker, a marijuana smoker, because a lot of you guys smoke weed. A lot of that stuff got chemicals in it. You just smoke in every and anything. This is relaxing. I'm able to do my broadcast more effectively, you know, be calmer, you know, take things more in stride, be more relaxed and focused through this. So I thank AHMEN for natural marijuana. I thank AHMEN for, you know, allowing natural marijuana to grow from the earth. I think it's a beautiful thing. You know, just don't abuse it. Don't, you know, abuse anything, you know. Why have black females lost their femininity? I want to talk on that. I spoke about this on my broadcast, MENTELLECT Radio, which comes on tonight at 10 o'clock. We're going to start on time at 10 o'clock. Those of you who want to call in, you know, the number for that is, and listen, the number for that is, what is that number? What is that number? It's not coming to me now. I'll look at it again. What is my number for Blog Talk Radio?
You got it?
No, what is the number? It's what is it? Yeah, no. Blog Talk Radio number. 319-527-6028. That's my number for Blog Talk Radio, MENTELLECT Radio tonight at 10, which we do every night. So you call in and ask questions if you're not going to call in on this. But the reason why a lot of so-called black women have lost their femininity, I don't know if you noticed this, but I've been seeing a lot of guys pushing this narrative of so-called quote-unquote black men going to places like the Dominican Republic, Brazil, to get with a lot of these Latino women. Now, I was watching the video earlier, and this guy was saying, oh, you know, a lot of you so-called black men in the United States, y'all need to go to the Dominican Republic or Brazil and get with one of them women out there, get with the black women out there, because they got a better attitude, they got a better mentality, whatever the case is, yada, yada. They say all that, right? But the woman that the guy was showing in the video, I couldn't help but notice that this wasn't a so-called black woman. This wasn't an ethnic American woman. This was a Latino woman who was thick and you know, she was curvy and she was thick, and you could tell she had some ethnic American bronze blood in her, like, you know, like the ethnic American woman with the, you know, the nice behind and hips and everything. And she was shaped nice, but she wasn't an ethnic American woman. But in the video, the guy was trying to promote her as a black woman. I was like, wow, wonder why. And then, you know, and one of Tariq Nasheed's old videos, he was up here promoting these Caucasian Brazilian women out there. And I didn't know what that was about. Again, no shot at Tariq Nasheed, you know what I'm saying? But he was up here promoting these Caucasian women in Brazil. This was an old video he did, and he was talking about how fine they are and stuff like that. Oh, these fine MFs and all this. He was saying all this, right? And he said, look at these fine, but these was like white, these was Caucasian females with a tan who speak Spanish. Because a lot, again, y'all talk about the Latinos and you talk about these people are exotic. These a lot of these females are nothing but Caucasians with tans who speak Spanish, who look more, who consider themselves to be white women. Okay, and that's really what he was pointing out. He was pointing out a lot of white women in the video with flat asses, flat old iron board asses, no hips, barely any breasts. This is what he was pointing out is attractive to so-called black men here in America. Now, so-called black men, bronze, copper-colored men, we like curves. We like all women to look like women. You look back in the ancient world in Mesoamerica, you look at that. Look at the women in the war that tell you everything. These are bronze, copper-colored women. You see the behinds and the breasts and the hips and everything. That's indicative of our women. Just like the nose, the broad nose and the thick lips is indicative of our men. But the other people want to take credit for that. But anyway, he's promoting this as so-called black women. And I'm like, that's not black women. That's not bronze women. I don't like to use the term black, but I'm just using black so y'all know what I'm talking about. He's promoting the Tariq Nasheed was saying, oh, these women is fine. I'm like, where? Where are these women fine at? These women have no bodies. All right. And it was almost, and I'm no disrespect again, I'm gonna just say it like it almost seemed like Tariq Nasheed was trying to convince so-called American bronze men, black men, to go and be with these white women. That's what it come off like you was trying to convince, because he took 15 minutes. And again, I know it's an old video, and I know he talking about the FBA thing now, and he on about the sisters and all this other business, but that video right there, it was real lame. But he was up there basically lusting after these white women, you know what I'm saying, and making it seem like these women was the baddest thing ever. I'm like, where? Where did these women, like again, it was like he was trying to sell these Caucasian women with tans who speak Spanish to black men here in America. And I'm like, I'm not buying. No, thank you. I like my women with curves. I like my women with woolly hair like mine. I like my women with curves and woolly hair and bronze copper colored skin. The most beautiful women in the world are ethnic American women, bronze copper colored women, so-called black women. So-called. I don't even like that. Bronze women are the most beautiful women on the planet, bar none. Come in many different shades and complexions, and they have real hair. The ones who have real hair, the ones that y'all ain't trying to look like and wear horse hair and trying to like Caucasian women and Asian women, your not your Vivica Foxes and those type of black females who done mess their hair up, then bald headed. You see them when they're young, they had braids and they had long hair. They started out with hair, but through years of perms and weaves and, now they snatching damn tails off of horses and attaching them to their heads. Damn horses running around with no tails. We used to make a joke about that. The horses running around out here with no tails because the so-called black woman, the nigger woman, got it sewn to her head. I remember that. But I'm what time is it? I'm gonna go till like about 9 o'clock because I'm just talking. Yeah. So, I'm just saying, in my mind, what it looked like to me is like what a lot of these black females was doing, where they try to convince black women to be with white men. You ever see that? And Tariq Nasheed referred to these women as bed wenches, right? And he's trying, because for them being with so-called white men, or zaddies, as he say. And again, I'm not taking no shots at Tariq Nasheed. I'm not trying to sneak diss him, because if I was going to diss you, I'd just straight up diss you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I like your work, but that video right there was real cringy when you was up here lusting after these flat-ass white women, these flat-ass white girls who you trying to basically pass, these flat-ass Caucasians who you trying to pass off as banging and fine. And I'm like, where? If I, it's only a lot of Caucasian males who like females that look like that. Caucasian males tend to like females that look like that. No, no hips, no ass, no curves, no nothing. That tend to be Caucasian males who like that. You see? And a lot of times, a lot of them guys, and again, no disrespect, a lot of them guys really like stuff like that. They want, because I remember one time, I kid you not, this white guy said he liked his women to be asked to be tight like a 12-year-old boy. I remember there was this Caucasian guy that said about he liked his women asked to be flat and tight like a Caucasian boy. No, he said like a 12-year-old boy. I'm sorry, like a 12-year-old boy. He didn't say Caucasian. He said 12-year-old boy. That's what these Caucasians were saying about having women with, you know, flat backsides and things like that. I'm like, nah. I want a woman to look like a woman. You know, no, nah. But it almost come off like that, because you got a lot of these black females up here who get backed by certain money to come and push other so-called black women, you know, to push other black women toward white men. So it's not really impossible to see men doing the same thing, you know, because you got people who like to spend the culture. You got people who are working to spend the culture. Like in those places I mentioned, like Brazil and all them places in South America, you had people trying to spend the culture, where they tried to make it seem as though the ethnic American women there, the bronze women there, so-called black women there, that they would improve the race, quote unquote, if they mix with Caucasians, usually Caucasian Spaniards who were coming into the country. You know, you can improve the race if you go and get in an interracial thing with a Spanish zaddy, with a Latino zaddy, because those are the real Latinos. The real Latino, even that term Latino is European. The real Latinos are your Italians, your Spaniards, the white Spaniards. You Latinos, you Latins, or you so-called Latinos, y'all just a bunch of half-breeds and mixes who are, you know, got a little bit of everything in you, from Asian to Caucasian to black, and y'all all mixed all over. That's why you'll see in places like Dominican Republic and all that, you have a so-called black Puerto Rican, then you have a white-looking Puerto Rican, and you have like one look kind of Indian-looking. You have that mixture there because that was going on those islands, people mixing, all right? But you have people who will try to, what I call, shuffle the social structure. I'm going to give you a good example of that. I've been seeing a lot of black males walking around wearing dresses here in Brooklyn where I'm at. I've been seeing a lot of black males walking around wearing dresses. I'm talking about guys with beards and stuff like that. And, you know, and I'm like, where are these dudes coming from? Where are these dudes coming from? Where are these guys coming from wearing dresses, or these women walking around looking bugged out? It almost looked like, honestly, I'm going to be real, it just seemed like somebody's paying them to walk around and do that and be a spectacle, to be seen. You see, it's like they're being, I don't care what nobody say, you can call me a conspiracy nut, but it seems like these people are being paid to walk, to move into certain areas, usually so-called black areas, to change the social setup and the social structure of what, you know, that neighborhood is known for. Like, for example, like I said this, why are neighborhoods being gentrified in Brooklyn and all over the place when you got plenty of Caucasian neighborhoods in Brooklyn where they don't want no black people at, but these white people are coming from different parts of America and even out of Europe and coming into Brooklyn, into Bed-Stuy, in the areas like this. Why are neighborhoods being gentrified? Why are these people not going to where other Caucasians are? Why is it's like a deliberate, shake-up, or, you know, a mash-up, trying to, you know, mash things up, just basically trying to reshuffle the, you know, foundation of what's there, the people that are there, who this area is known to, you know, house. Like in Harlem, I could point to Harlem, Bed-Stuy. They ain't get into Brownsville like that yet. They gonna move gradually into Brownsville, but it's a big thing to basically erase our ethnic American heritage. Now let me finish back to this about why the black females lost their femininity. A lot of you black females, you know, I can't refer to you as women. only because you chose to follow after females. And when I say you've chosen to follow after females, you've chosen to follow after other races of females, not women, because you were the original women. You started following after other females and following things like feminism, right? Liberated behavior, liberal feminism, and all this other nonsense that you following after these Caucasian females. And in doing that, and these females getting you to embrace whoredom, embrace overt sexuality, to be loose, to be basically whorish with your bodies. That's how you lost your femininity. That's how you see black females today. They sit around here and black females are sitting on Facebook clapping their damn butt cheeks, basically twerking and, acting like whores and sluts. You see, acting real filthy, dirty. And very rarely do you see women, young women, I'm talking about from the 18 to in their 40s, acting like refined women, acting like refined, classy women who have their hair, who ain't wearing a damn weave, who wearing their natural hair, who actually, carry themselves, cover themselves, ain't carrying themselves whorish and sluttish, who are not degrading themselves. You very rarely do you see that. You don't see that. Who you see is Lizzo. Who you see is Nicki Minaj or with Meg Thee Stallion. That's who you see. Those are your role models for young black females. That's your role models. You see, these females who have abandoned femininity, who have abandoned having any kind of respect for themselves. This is who you see. Okay? This is who you black females let your daughters sit up here and listen to their music and watch movies from them. Watch these females out here degrading themselves. This is who you see. This is who you let listen to. This is who y'all support these people music. And then when your daughters come home and she got this thought message in her head, you see, she got from the thought network of black females who done threw their damn femininity down the toilet. Right? When she come home and she now wants to be an out in the open thought, or whatever the hell she doing, or she in a damn same sex relationship with another female, basically disgracing your family. When that happens, you sitting up here scratching your head. I wonder why. No, it couldn't have been the music she was listening to. No, it couldn't have been that. Because I raised my children to be good. Ain't that what y'all say? I raised my children to be good. I send my children to school. I teach them values and all that. But here's the problem with that.
I'm sorry.
But here's the problem with that. When you, that's why I said that, but the computer. But anyway, here's the problem with that. You can say you raise your children with values, or you want your children with all the values in the world. Now you can sit there and talk about how you raise your children to be. But when you don't have a real community that your children are growing up in, when you don't have a real community to show them what real brotherhood and sisterhood looks like, what a real communal base of people look like, where the girls could look to a group of women in the community and say, you know what, I want to be like those women. Where the men could look at the boys could look at a group of men, manly men, not no effeminate males. Manly men, real men, and they can say, I want to be like those men. The young boy can say, I want to be like those men because those men are teaching me something. You see, they're not sitting around here like the old homies, the old washed up homies who going to have you sitting up in jail somewhere following behind them. No, these are real men, elders, and real men as their fathers, real women as their mothers, to raise them as a collective community, just like how the Jews have. You see, the Jews, they constantly showing that family. That's one thing I give them a shout out for, a big shout out for. They constantly showing family. The father walking with the wife and the children and things like that. They make sure they push that. They make sure their children see that, because everything that you promote to a child, you know, they have to see it. It's not enough for you to tell them that. They have to see that. Because your children will call you on your BS. Your children will let you know if you're full of crap. Your children will let you know, oh, mommy, you said this, or you said this, that, and the third, but you doing this, that, and the third over here. You told me don't go out here and lay with this one and that one, but every time I try to watch you grow up and having men in and out the goddamn house. Males in and out the house. You got different baby daddies. None of my brothers and sisters look like me. They all look different. We gotta play a game of damn who's your daddy? Spin the damn bottle, who's your father? You see? Pick a father. No, that shouldn't be like that. This is the mentality they're taking into the world, and this is why they're in the condition they're in as a people. This is why. Okay? When Honorable Elijah Muhammad was out here, Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the only one I seen, you know, and you know, of course, Dr. York was doing this too, where they was trying to push husbands and wives and family. That's one of the things. See, y'all talk so much about Malcolm X, and you talk about how great Malcolm X was. Do you understand that when he said what he said about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, why he tried to destroy that man's reputation, talk about his personal life with women and things like that, which all men deal with women. Oh, and you know what? Shout out today. Today is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad birthday. I forgot. Damn. I might do something tonight on him. I always do something on his birthday. Shout out to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Today's his birthday. You know, October 7th, 1897. A great man whose birthday is not celebrated because, see, in this society, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is deemed the untouchable, untouchable, unthinkable. In other words, they try to touch this subject of him. And when you do got some people touching the subject, they trying to slander the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, trying to talk crazy about him, trying to uplift Malcolm X, like this clown who did a video, who did a damn movie called 9 Wives. I shouldn't even mention this garbage, but I'm going to just go ahead and say this clown who had a video called 9 Wives, right? Where he was basically disparaging the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Somebody gave this idiot some money to make a movie, and it was pure garbage. It was basically that some angry black female who the messenger supposed to be dealing with in the Nation of Islam, who he supposedly, quote unquote, impregnated. And she was spewing all of this nonsense while the man was supposed to be down with Elijah Muhammad laying in the damn bed in the hospital with a damn fez on his head. I'm like, first she lets, it's 2 Muslim brothers. I gotta tell you the plot. This is stupid shit. That's all you can call it, dumb shit. This clown, it's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad supposed to be on his deathbed, right? And you got 2 guys supposed to be fruit of Islam out in front, and they let in a black female who's supposed to be his wife. They tell her salam alaikum. She said, "Hey, peace to you." She don't even say salam to them. She don't salam them. So then they're gonna let her in the room around the messenger. Don't know, they ain't search her nothing. Don't know if she got nothing. Don't know if she his wife, nothing. Just let her in the room, right? And she and the man laying there in a coma with a damn fez on his head. I'm like, why the hell he got a fez on his head? This looks stupid as fuck. Excuse my language. This looks stupid as hell, right? And the black female just yelling at him and talking about his bastard children and your message and you done took money from other men and all. This basically, it sounds like I'm gonna just say it sounds like a bitch rant. Written by a male bitch and pushed to a female. You see, written by some male bitch, a lover of Malcolm X. I call them Malcolm X. You see, sellout. Because y'all don't never want, we're going to get into that thing with Malcolm X being a sellout. Because I said this a long time ago, and I didn't care who didn't like what I said. Because I know it's popular to love Malcolm X. I'm like, love him for what? Love him for what? You see, I got on this because I said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you say what you want about that man's personal life, whatever. Nobody knows what that man's personal life was because you wasn't there personally to see him lay down with the women. And if he was laying down, so what? So what? Men sleep with women. Men have sex with women. So what? Men have children with women. So what? All that underage girl stuff, that was a bunch of lies, man. Because if that was the truth, they would have locked Elijah Muhammad up. They couldn't wait to lock up Elijah Muhammad. If he was laying with underage girls, why did he go to jail? They couldn't have waited to take him to jail. Oh, Muslim leader is sleeping with underage girls. Why didn't he go to jail? Because that didn't happen. You could say he was sleeping with young women. He had young wives he was sleeping with. What older man don't like young women? I know I do. Not no children, though. Not no underage girls. Young women just means young women in their 20s. You see, that's just all that means. If the man in his 60s and you say a young woman, that could be a woman in her 20s. You see, and it was plenty of women in their 20s. It's nothing wrong with that. These women are consenting adults and they chose to lay with that man. So what? So what? But you say things like that because Malcolm X was really a hater. He really was a hater. And this nigga that wrote the film, you could tell he's a hater too. A lot of you guys that's vibrating off that Malcolm X energy, a lot of you dudes is haters, man. A lot of you dudes, because you found nothing wrong with what Malcolm X did to his teacher. The man who, had it not been for Elijah Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, there would be no Malcolm X. This clown had the nerve to say he used a black female to do it, because that's what beta male simps do. They try to speak through females because they all speak the same language, emotional. But anyway, so this clown says, oh, the woman goes to the office and says, see, you killed Malcolm X because he was rising on a higher level, more spiritually than you were, and you couldn't stand that. This is the narrative. Clowns like this bald-headed nigga who made the thing, he was always wearing this Malcolm X stuff, this clown, this coon tuber, right? Malcolm X was becoming more spiritual than Elijah Muhammad. If that's the case, then why was Malcolm X begging to get back in the Nation of Islam? Why didn't he just go off and be a Sunni? And why did he keep using the name Shabazz? Shabazz is a name that was connected to the Nation of Islam. That is not an Arabic name. Shabazz is not an Arabic name. You cannot find that nowhere in the Arabic language. Shabazz was a name that was attached to the Nation of Islam. Why did Malcolm X keep the name Shabazz? Why did he change his name to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz? He could have changed it to Malik Muhammad or something like that. Why did he change it to Shabazz? Because the name El Hajj Malik El Shabazz translates into the king or ruler of Shabazz. So was he trying to say in changing his name to Shabazz, or they say Elijah Muhammad gave him the name Malik Shabazz. I don't know how true that is. I think personally he took it himself, but let's just say he did, right? Let's just say the messenger did, or Malcolm X just took the name himself, because I don't think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave him that name. But let's just say he did. That means he thought highly of you to give you the name Malik Shabazz, king of that tribe of Shabazz, which probably, if he did, he probably had it in mind for you to succeed him. So my thing is this. Why was Malcolm X begging to get back in the Nation of Islam? You had tape on him when he was apologizing to the messenger. He was begging to get back in. He was trying. So if the messenger was so corrupt, if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was so corrupt, he's sleeping with all these young underage girls, why do you want to go back to following that man? Why would you want to go back to following a man who's just so corrupt? And keep in mind, I want you so-called people who want to play this card of Malcolm X. I ain't mean to get off into, I'm about to end it soon, but keep in mind, you people that play this Malcolm X, or you Malcolm X lovers who play this Malcolm X card like he was so righteous, you do know that that was no secret in the Nation of Islam about the messenger and his women or his wives or whatever you want to see. That was no secret. Malcolm X been knew about that for years. And that's factual. They've been heard about that, going back to at least 59, 1960, and even probably even further back than that, because you know black people can't keep no damn secret. Let's just say the messenger was trying to keep it on the hush, not putting them on his video. You know, black people can't keep no secrets. Black people gossip. Everybody gossip, but especially black people. But people gossip. And that was not everybody, even his own Elijah Muhammad's own sons knew about that. Why wasn't it a problem then? Why was it only a problem after you got put out the Nation of Islam? All of a sudden, oh, they just scared because I'm going to tell what people... Well, if you were so righteous, why didn't you leave upon finding out about it? Why did you stay in a corrupt organization, as you called the Nation of Islam? Why did you stay there, and why did you beg to come back? Why was your brothers and sisters still in there after you left? And they still stayed there after you got killed. Your brothers stayed. because they knew you was a hypocrite. They knew you was a hypocrite. They could say whatever they want now, after the fact, but nobody made them stay there. They knew you was a hypocrite. And one of your brothers even said after I seen an interview, he said, I'm about to work now. You know what happened with Malcolm was with that, but I was about to work. Because they saw that the work that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did and was doing was working on our people. It was making our people better. You see, whenever you do a righteous work, you're always going to have a lot of the wrong people that's going to interpret or misinterpret as, oh, who this nigga think he is, why he doing this, that, and the third. You're always going to have haters when you're doing righteous work, like the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't care what nobody says. Malcolm X was a hater. Big time hater. You see, people can say and deny that, but it is what it is. You see? But shout out to Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Happy birthday to the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All right, let me look at this. I want to see what else I'm going to touch on, because I'm about to wrap this up soon. We'll wrap it up at another 10 minutes. Close it out at 9, because I got to get ready for MENTELLECT Radio. I ain't eat nothing today. I didn't eat a damn thing today. Yeah, but the black female, she lost her femininity. It's for the shout out to the bronze women. That's why I say I want to separate bronze women from black females. Definitely needs to be a separation of bronze women from black females. All right. Oh, by the way, I got my hair cut today. How I look? Looks good? Look good? Or I got fresh and cut up today. It was a haircut day today. I usually come in. I got a full head of hair. I ain't got no spray-in lines. I got a full head of hair all throughout. Ethnic American hairline. Strong ethnic American hairline. I hate Tariq Nasheed talking about foundational black hairline and whatnot. They're getting on his hairline. I don't know how true it is. I think he got his hair. Well, whatever. It is what it is. But mine's is all, lined up good and whatnot. My hair still grow out fucking there. Grow braids, grow afro, and grow beard. Like I said, good genetics. Let me see. So yeah, the black femininity has been lost, man. That's why I said we have to rebuild the femininity of our women as ethnic American women. We have to rebuild the femininity of all women as ethnic American women. And I've started on the path of doing that just in our community in the American Republic. You see, rebuilding the femininity of our women. Rebuilding the masculinity of our men. Say it again? Thank you. Oh, you like the new tattoo? It's it's still kind of fresh. It's still peeling off and whatnot. Thank you. Who's that, Q? Thank you. Thank you so much. It was painful as hell, though. I got that last Friday. I'm going to get one more tattoo here. And let me say something about tattooing. We did that in Mesoamerica, man. The tattoos and all that didn't come from the so-called white man. That came from our people. Tattooing and all that came from our people in Mesoamerica, man. Marijuana and tattoos, that's a ethnic American thing. That's a bronze, copper-colored thing. That's an American thing from our people. You see, we did that first. But anyway. So the thing to focus on restoring the femininity of our women has to start with our daughters, you see, and the women in the community and those who come along in the community. We about restoring the femininity to our daughters, because there's too much of a whorish, degenerate energy out here today amongst the so-called black females. You see, they've lost their femininity and thus lost what it truly meant to be real women. Because if you don't have your femininity intact, then you will never know what it is to be a true woman. Just like when men, if you don't have your masculinity intact, you'll never know what it is to be a real man. You see, you'll never know what it is to be real men if your masculinity is not intact. I'm not talking about, I'll fight with this dude, I'll beat this dude up, I'll shoot this dude. That's not masculine. That's not masculine. Let me stop you there. Of course, you're going to defend yourself if you got to, but no, being a real man is taking care of your family, being there for your children, standing up as real men against any kind of aggression or oppression towards your people, protecting your women and your babies, protecting your community, not sitting up here destroying your community, not sitting up here forming gangs to shoot other people in your community or turn your damn your neighborhood, turn your neighborhoods into a damn war zone, shooting people over who got this color on, who got that color on, dumb shit. Childish shit. Excuse my language. But it's real like that. I know it's going to probably make some people, get bent out and say, oh, why are you saying all that? Because it is what it is. A whole generation, a whole culture is being destroyed because our people are sitting around here, number one, calling themselves black people, which we should have been stopped doing, calling ourselves African American, which another thing we should have been stopped doing. You see, but to rebuild the ethnic American community, we have to rebuild our women. We have to restore the femininity of our women, the respect for our women, and the respect that they need to have for themselves. We have to restore the masculinity in our men. And teach those women to respect those men, and vice versa, the men respect the women. And thus, then you raise strong family unit, because then the children, they grow up seeing that. You see, like I said, shout out to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he was the embodiment of that through the Nation of Islam. You see, so for you people that want to crap on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, talk bad about, that man was the only one restoring the ethnic American family, the so-called black family. He was the only one out here, one of the only ones out here doing it on a major level. You see, you had other people do it on minor levels and whatnot, but on a major level, that man was doing it. So you talk bad about them whether you want to, or you doing it speaking against the evolution of our people, and that just makes you a damn turncoat and a sellout like your boy Malcolm. But anyway, next thing. Is there a concentrated effort to erase ethnic Americans from America? Of course it is. Soon as they got us to buy into the whole black thing, tell us you got Italians over here, you got Irish over here, you got Germans over here, you got French over here, you got these people over here, you got, then we get to us. Oh, you got Asians over here, you got Chinese over here, you got Japanese over here, then we get us black people. Black people. Like you just took away something. Something was taken and nothing was left there but darkness. That's what that really signifies. That's what that signifies. That something was stripped away from us. When you hear the term black, that signifies that something was taken and nothing was put there in its place. So black people are still a faceless people in America, and they don't even realize it. Your culture, your heritage, and all of that, your dance, your music, everything you created here is being divvied up and divided by other people. Other people are being given credit for what you brought into the world through your culture, your music. Like I said before, there was a documentary out where these Caucasians, who I'm pretty sure produced it, they tried to say that jazz and blues came from red Mongoloid Indians. They tried to say that jazz and blues came from red Mongoloid Indians. And that, the people that came up, they was mixed with Mongoloid. Let me tell you something. That's a bunch of BS, because if that was true, you would see a whole bunch of so-called Mongoloid Indian or American Indian jazz groups. All right, I'm talking about early. You would see a bunch of American Indian blues groups early. Not people that done came after us and made a copy, just like with the hip hop thing, back with Fat Joe, with this nonsense about 50-50 with hip hop and whatnot. And this guy just straight up lying, because again, he's part of the program. I'm going to just say it like that. I think he's part of the program to aid in erasing our ethnic American heritage, the soul culture here in America. The soul culture here is being erased. The soul culture is being erased. The ethnic American soul culture that produced hip hop, rap music, R&B, jazz, blues, reggae, right? Even reggaeton, because reggaeton come from reggae. You see, rock music, rock and roll music. Again, all this comes from us. All this comes from us. If you go back to these other people and their cultural influences, ain't nobody listening to no merengue music. The only ones who listen to that merengue and that's Latino music is a bunch of Latinos. Okay? The world listens to our music. The world listens to our music, not just us. And the world copies our music. So much so that somebody like a Fat Joe who claimed he was supposed to be black, or I could use the word nigga because I'm black. Well, if you black and you can use the word nigga, then why are you differentiating yourself as a Latino? Why are you differentiating? If somebody called Fat Joe a spick, if somebody called a so-called Latino a spick, oh, that's a racial slur. Why are you calling me that? What's up, son? Why are you calling me that? But they could use the word nigga. They can call each other, or they call you nigga, and they call each other nigga and throw that word around. But if you call them a spick or call them something that's derogatory toward Latinos, oh, you racist. Why you racist? The guy who was with that Tariq Nasheed was debating to get, the Mexican guy, F them niggas. F them niggas. Talking about so-called black people. Now I think he's Mexican. He a Cholo, American Cholo guy. Now, if somebody called him a wetback or said something about, he up in arms. He made the guy Tiger apologize for saying, just doing some campy thing of Mexicans and whatnot, and just basically making a joke making a joke out of a stereotype. That's all he was doing. I mean, did not. Okay, but that's all he was doing. But all right, so yeah, it is a concentrated effort to erase our ethnic American heritage. It is. But we have to stand up and know ourselves as ethnic American. We got to put the African American thing to rest. That has to die. African American, Africa. Why would I want to align myself with people who supposedly sold me? I said that last time, but that's it. I'm got to get ready for MENTELLECT Radio tonight. I said a lot. Subscribe, like the video, share the video. Share it on it, wherever you're going to share it on. I try to be as clean and as PG as possible, so we don't get no flags and strikes and all this other nonsense from people that's supposedly offended by what's being said or whatever. I don't give a damn, but whatever. So that's it. We're going, subscribe to High and Mighty Talks. Subscribe to this channel, High and Mighty Talks. Subscribe to the MENTELLECT channel to get our snippets. And also check out MENTELLECT Radio tonight on Blog Talk. The show tonight is 10 o'clock. We're going to start on time at 10 o'clock. The call-in number is 319-527-6028. 319-527-6028. So that's it. We're going to close out in the name of AHMEN, by the power of AHMEN. And AHMEN we trust. And AHMEN we thank. And in AHMEN we continue forward forever. I'm out. See y'all later. Next video.